Namaste and welcome everyone. I am back here with Sunilee, Jani, Pawar. It is such an honor to have you back here to share a conversation today. We are discussing Rahu conjunctions, specifically the current transit of Rahu, Mercury, and Mars conjunction, and all the influences. And no one better to discuss this relevant transit with than my dear friend and teacher, Sunilee Jani Pawar. Namaste. It's so good to have you.
Namaste, Kṣaṇāti, and it is very nice to see you again. And hello to everyone. This transit of Mars, Rahu, and now Mercury has also joined the Prince Mercury. So now this Prince Mercury is learning all the things from Mars and Rahu, because wherever Mercury and with whomever Mercury is posted or posited, it always try to grasp and grab the qualities and characteristic of that particular planet. So now Mercury is also trying to become like a Mars. Mercury is just snatching the aggression of Mars and also the illusion of Rahu, I should say that. And it's in a Gemini. So Gemini people will be experiencing it at the peak, you know. So, what is your take on this conjunction of, not exact conjunction, but all the three planets are together?
I mean, just as we were discussing before we started the recording, these are really some difficult times that we're living in, because we not only have this Rahu, Mars, Mercury conjunction, but it's being aspected by the Saturn retrograde Ketu combination. So
Yeah.
I don't know the last times, I haven't seen anything like this in my lifetime before. I'm not sure if you've seen anything like this in your lifetime before, where such an intense Saturn, Ketu, Rahu, Mars aspect is so long lasting. And and the Saturn Ketu conjunction will last the entire year of 2019 for the most part. Rahu and Mars thank the heavens that eventually Mars will be leaving its position with Rahu soon. And so that will be very beneficial, because this quality of Rahu and Mars and Mercury, it's not really a friendly relationship. Now, I will say that Mercury, before Mercury even came in, it was worse. So when Rahu and Mars were in Gemini alone without Mercury, that is like hell. But Mercury, in some ways, even though, as Sunilee ji mentioned, takes on qualities of the planet which surrounds it, because Mercury is in Mithuna, its own natural sign position, it gives strength to the Mercury. And so all of the difficult lessons that Rahu and Mars have been crashing our face against the ground, at least now with Mercury, we can intellectually understand them. We can understand the difficult lessons with Rahu. Rahu is the Maya, the illusion and confusion, but Mercury is the Buddhi. So maybe we know what is the illusion and what is the truth. And but this transit is really working itself through, and the Rahu Mars conjunction has not hit its peak yet, because Rahu is at 25 degrees, Mars is at 20 degrees,
20.
and Mercury is at 10.
10 degrees.
So Mars and Rahu are in same nakshatra, Purnarvasu, but different pada. But Mercury is still in a different nakshatra. It's still in Ardra. So when you look at this position of Rahu and Mars, it's still getting stronger and stronger and stronger. See, and Rahu represents illusion and confusion. It often leads us to Dharma or leads us to spiritual journeys, mystical and occult knowledge. This understanding of illusion, it leads us on a powerful spiritual path. But when Mars gets involved, not necessarily, because Mars is more concerned with action and energy. And so when there is confusion and then you mix in the spice of action, that's not a good combination, we call that impulsivity. And that means that you feel something and you act on it. And luckily, Mercury is here to say, think a little bit. Think a little bit before your action. Discern a little bit. But before Mercury was there, and Rahu and Mars conjunction is very strong, when you want to do something, you act on that impulse. And sometimes when we act on our impulses without proper discernment, without proper moral and ethical intention, well, these actions have consequences. And I think a lot of people, including every single person, where Gemini sits in your chart, where if you're Gemini ascendant, Gemini moon, Gemini sun, Gemini Rahu, Gemini Ketu, whatever the position is in your chart or wherever Gemini is, this could show an area where you are acting impulsively. This can show an area where you are experiencing some confusion. Now, again, I think Mercury's helping out the situation a little bit. And as Mercury makes its way closer to Mars, because it experiences, Rahu is the confusion and Mercury is closer to Mars. So if there is some clarity which is experienced during this transit, it will be expressed aggressively because Mercury will be acting like Mars. So all of our communication and expression, it has this intensity. It has this boldness. It has this fierceness. But the sad and the difficult part is that Rahu is also there. So what we're communicating, even though we think it is the truth, it might not be the truth. This is what we must ultimately always accept with Rahu, is that which we think we know is really what we do not know at all. And we have to be humble. And this is a very humbling combination because it shows a lot of people who think they know based on their impulses and their instincts, and they act on those impulses and instincts. Later, they might find out through the karmic repercussion of their actions that the energy is a little bit different, that there are consequences to your actions, that you actually have to think before you act. You have to make sure that this is a dharma act, not an a-dharma act, not that the confusion and the maya and the illusion. So it is a very difficult transit, and if we're going to isolate the Rahu conjunctions, first we look at Rahu-Mars conjunction because they're only 5 degrees apart. This is a good combination for warlord. This is a good combination for general. This is a good combination for, no one knows Genghis Khan's chart, but he could probably be a Rahu-Mars ascendant. It is a very type of energy which is powerful, but is powerful in war, is powerful in command, is powerful as a general, skanda, right? We call Mars skanda. So there is this kind of fueling of the ego. Mars is not an egoless planet. Rahu is not an egoless planet. So you take these two planets, which when they're manifesting malefically, inflate the ego, and you combine them together, this is a heavy time for ego inflation as well. So we can always see that playing out in politics right now, and these politicians are really going to full time with their egos. And they're also acting on their impulses. They're making radical choices, radical decisions that don't make much sense. But the interesting thing, as Mercury makes its way through, maybe they realize that the action or choice or thinking or actions that they have taken, that there will be more discernment in the future. The type of lessons that I see people learning during this transit is I feel an impulse and I make a mistake. Or I commit some type of action that at the time I thought was a good decision, but now with the intellect coming in and my emotion, that maybe it wasn't. And so then they think about, how can I grow? How can I evolve? How can I become a better person? How can I not fall back into this old pattern again? So Rahu and Mars, it does kind of push us back into our old patterns. Let's say you quit cigarette. I wouldn't be surprised that during this transit you picked up a cigarette. It is this energy of falling back into these old patterns. And why do we do that? Because Rahu and Mars is this confusion action. It's the illusion of action. It can actually show a lesson that we've already learned, and yet we're repeating the same mistake of a lesson that we've already learned. So this is a very difficult transit, especially when Gemini has a significant position in the chart. Less strong right now, but will be getting more strong is the Rahu-Mercury conjunction, because I did want to just isolate the nodal conjunction here. And see, Rahu and Mercury, it's not as uncomfortable as Rahu-Mars. Some believe that Rahu has strong position in Gemini and Virgo, which means there's a friendly relationship with Mercury. So some believe that Rahu and Mercury can have a friendly relationship. I think that comes from there being illusion, and the only way we can understand illusion is confusion, is the lack of knowing something. And on the other side of it, you have Mercury, which represents knowledge. So when the friendly relationship between Rahu and Mercury I see is truly knowing what you know and being able to express what you know, but also knowing what you don't know. And I think knowing what you don't know is even harder than being confidently expressing in what you know. Is being humble and realizing that the wisest person in the world is the person who realizes that he knows nothing at all. And that's what I think some of the deeper lessons of this transit is, that we know nothing, we do not know the future, we do not, and we sometimes feel that we know and we act on that feeling. But that can be illusion as well. And so Rahu has been teaching us some of these difficult lessons along with Mercury and Mars. And I'm curious to hear some of your insights as well, Sunilee.
Yeah, absolutely. This in Hindi we call it as a trikut. Trikut means three people or three special featured people are coming together to show their, to show their picture or to show their show, that what we are going to perform. And the first and foremost was the Rahu. Rahu came in action in Mithuna, and then he tried to just convey the messages to Gemini, because Gemini is a Mercury sign, and we always see that Rahu is always comfortable with Mercury or in Mercury sign. So Rahu was little bit okay. And as per nature's chart, if we see, so Gemini sign comes in the third house of courage, third house of efforts. Okay, so we always say that whenever Rahu is in the three Kṣaṇāti houses, that means 3, 6, 11th house, the Rahu feels more comfortable, and all these three houses are more prominent and more comfortable to welcome the malefic planets or to welcome the aggressive planets like Saturn, Mars, Rahu, Ketu. All these three houses are welcoming houses for these planets. So when Rahu was alone there, people were like, okay, now something good will happen. If we see as per the nature's chart, so everyone is having the Rahu in the third house nowadays, right? If we put the nature's chart, and then we have to see that whether we have any planets in Gemini or no, or whether any planets are aspecting the Gemini sign or planets, because already Saturn and Ketu have the 180-degree aspect over each other, these planets. So many planets now, 5 planets are together opposite to each other. So they are in a war of tug, But Saturn and Ketu are trying to make the things very lenient and very slow. Okay. At the same time, here Mars and Rahu are trying to push the events. The events depends on your Mahadasha, Antardasha. Now one has to see that what dasha this person is going through, what type of events or what type of fruits this person will be getting. Yeah. That totally depends on your dasha, because each of us are having the transit of the same planets, but all of us have different events happening in our life. That means we have different planetary positions, we have different dashas, whatever we are running. And first and foremost, we have to see that what placement of this Rahu, Mars and Mercury are from our original Rahu, Mars and Mercury. Okay, if they are 6-8 to each other, or they are not in good combination to each other, definitely the aggression of fruits will raise. Second thing, Rahu and Mars already have a combination of illusions with the passion, illusions with the expressions, illusion with the aggression. And when Mercury entered here, now what is happening? Mercury is trying to behave like both the planets, but as Rahu is more comfortable with Mercury in other sense, because Rahu is trying to make the Mercury that, okay, come on my side, because Mars is little bit aggression. So please come on my side, see how I will give you the fruits, or both of us will be doing the fantastically if we come together. But the Mars is the, is the, what we say, Kṣaṇāti, or it is a major the soldier. So the soldier is not giving up the weapons. The soldier is saying that no, whatever you people will do, I will not allow it to happen. Because whenever Mercury and Mars come together, as it is in the communication house of Gemini, the speech becomes harsh, the speech becomes irrelevant, and Rahu gives the illusions to Mars so that Mercury is giving illogical thoughts to Mars. Mercury is just playing its own role so that the relationships in person's life are also getting segregated. Or we can say that nobody is coming to know that what is happening in my life. This can be with relationship, this can be with your work, this can be with your transformation also, because Gemini sign is sign of unity also. Gemini is a sign of unity, because Gemini sign comes 8th to 8th in our nature's chart. And when Mars is posited there, as you said, that spiritually also it is aggravating and activating the person's life, because Mars denotes the Hatha Yoga. If Mars is powerful in the chart, even though other precipitating factors are not supporting the person, but alone Mars can give the best Hatha Yoga to the person. Specifically, as third house is the house of sadhana, is the house of deep meditation, because there comes the time after 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. in the third house. So always you see that during this period, as the problems are coming near, or any wishes are coming, the wish list is becoming long, and problems list is also becoming long. So people are just surrendering to the spirituality. And that is why the spiritual element gets awakened in any form. Some goes in deep sadhana, some goes in temporary sadhana. But everybody is surrendered during this period. Now, as it is in Punarvasu Nakshatra, both the planets, and Mercury is in Ardhara Nakshatra. So I will say, out of all these 3 planets, now Mercury is playing the major role. Because Mercury has Rahu also, Mercury has Mercury also, and Mercury has Mars also in the Gemini sign. So now in anybody's chart, specifically in our Jyotish's chart, if Mercury is very prominent, you will find that if you are a blogger or if you are a writer, people will start writing the books. The authors, they will get the new ideas, new concepts to write the books, because Mercury will just boost the Rahu also, and Mercury will boost the Mars also, unless and until it is in Ardhara Nakshatra, because it is a moist Nakshatra. it is making the person very emotional to just present and to show off the emotions. So, and on the other side, as per the mundane astrology, as we were discussing, so many natural calamities are taking place all around the world. You can see that. So, this is also a bad side, but it was more when Mars and Rahu were together. But now, as Mercury has entered there, and Mars is going to change on this 22nd of June, it will go in Cancer, again in Saturn Nakshatra. So, that time again, something new will happen. So, really, this is a transformation period for all of us because uh, the Jupiter is also 6 to Mars and Rahu now, 6-8 connection. The Saturn and Ketu are also 180-degree opposite. So many things are happening one by one. So what other things you find that how other planets like Jupiter or Saturn are playing role when these three planets are activated in the chart?
Yeah, it's exactly what I wanted to discuss. So thank you for asking. The way that word that I use to describe the Rahu Mars Mercury combination is the word push. Push means Mars is pushing, Rahu is pushing, and Mercury is acting like Mars and Rahu, so it's going to be pushing too. And this means pushing, we can think of it in terms of a lot of different ways, but an easy way to understand pushing is in terms of our desires. So if you have a desire, you push towards it, which means you do everything you can to get that desire. We're not even judging if the desire is moral or ethical yet, but maybe with Rahu and Mars, it's not. And you push towards that desire, and you push towards that desire. And because of Rahu and Mars combination, you'll probably end up satisfying it. So whatever desires you want, you will be pushing towards you, is completely aspected by the opposite type of vibration and energy, which is the Saturn Ketu vibration, which I call pull. So you have Rahu, Mercury, and Mars push, Saturn retrograde, Ketu pull. And it's like you have 4 horses pulling your arms in different directions and your legs in different directions. And this pull of Saturn and Ketu, it wants to, especially because it's in Sagittarius, which is the guru sign, but then also guru is retrograde in Scorpio. It'll be much better once the guru reaches Sagittarius, Danus. But for now, while this pull is so intense and Saturn retrograde and Ketu are so close, and especially while Saturn is in retrograde during this period, everything in our life which doesn't serve us, because that's what Ketu and Saturn are concerned. Ketu and Saturn working together, they want to remove everything in our life which does not serve us. So that's the minimization. That's the subtraction. That's the removal. That's the letting go. That's the moksha. That's the surrender. That's the acceptance. And all these things sound really positive, but they're very painful. Usually the things which we have to let go of, which are no longer serving us, are the things that we are the most attached to. And if you look at the Rahu-Mars aspect, which is the push, we're really giving into our attachments. We're pushing towards our attachments. We're giving into our attachments. We're desiring our attachments. And at the same time, Saturn and Ketu, which is the bigger lesson, because soon Mars will leave Rahu, Mercury will leave Rahu, and Saturn and Ketu will remain together for much, much longer. So yes, right now we feel all this temptation of the push of all the things that we want, all the things that we desire. How do we get our hands on those things? Whether it's money or relationship or whatever it may be. How do we get these things? but Saturn and Ketu on the other side of the aspect is saying, well, if that doesn't serve you, it should not be in your life no matter what. If it's a job, if it's a relationship, if it's a habit, if it is not serving your dharma, if it is not serving your highest evolution, then that Saturn-Ketu conjunction wants to remove it. So, to summarize, push and pull scenario, and while this Rahu-Mars-Mercury is very tightly conjunct, you can still people giving, not letting go of the things which Saturn and Ketu wants them to let go of. They hold on to these things for dear life. They say, please don't go. Please don't go. Please don't go. They try to...
And now Sun is also entering on 15th of June. Sun is also entering Surya. See now have you observed the combination now how it is? Behind the Mars, Rahu and Mercury there is Surya or Sun and Venus now.
Yeah.
Venus is also there.
Yeah.
And behind Saturn and Ketu there is a Jupiter. Okay. So Jupiter is just supporting the Saturn and Ketu because Jupiter is already near to its mul Trikona Rashi. Okay, and then Surya, which is in Taurus sign, is going towards the Gemini, which is his favorite sign. Again, Mercury will become more boosted up. Mercury will become more support. That is why I said that now Mercury will play the major role in giving the events and fruits to the native. And then Mars is again going to Cancer sign. But Rahu, as you said, Rahu will remain alone. But then again, Sun and Rahu combination is going to be there.
And then Venus and Rahu come.
It is a Grahan Yoga. Surya and Rahu again will be there in Gemini. Again, the Saturn will be aspecting the Sun. Then again, other fruits you will experience. But not like Mars and Rahu. It will be lesser than that.
Yes, because I agree with that. Because the Sun in Rahu is more magnetic.
Mars, it will be lesser than that.
Mars and Rahu is more unattractive. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, because see, Rahu always plays its role wherever it is placed. It will give illusion also. It will give you fantastic proof also because you cannot judge Rahu. You cannot shape Rahu or you cannot put Rahu in particular box. You cannot feature Rahu. Rahu has so many features, so many significations. Whatever you speak about Rahu, it will show you something adverse only. And if you will speak adverse about Rahu, it will give you fantastic proofs. So that is why it is called as illusionary planet. It's a shadow planet because you cannot read the shadow. Only you can see your shadow. You do not know what is happening inside it. It's total black. Right? So that is why when Mars is there, so Mars is totally red. So red and black are not a good combination. But when green Mercury is entering, it's a good combination.
Yeah.
It's a green zone now. That is why now we have to rely more on Mercury, even though it is a prince planet. Even though it is called as a non-mature planet. But still now it is holding a very high position. Because it is subsiding, it is pacifying the severe effects of Rahu and Mars.
Yeah, it really is acting like a guardian angel. And many of the depictions of the paintings of Mercury in Greek and Roman painting, he's a little angel with wings and everything. So
exactly.
You can see the angel side of Mercury coming in during this transit. It shows that no matter what illusion is going on in the native's life, that the associations with Mercury will still allow success in the areas of life where Mercury is influencing. So no matter what heartbreak or whatever pain and suffering Rahu and Mars is causing you, that the Mercury is saying, well, that is an illusion, and you can't change that. You must surrender, live in the moment, and with that, you can achieve all of the activations of Gemini in your chart, Virgo in your chart, and the position of Mercury in your chart. So this is a very good time for achievement wherever there is Mercury energy in the chart. And actually, if someone has very good Mars position, as Sunilee mentioned, it's not a bad time for them to achieve with their Mars karma. But this is a very difficult time for people with the challenging Mars position. This is and like also Sunilee said, we cannot put Rahu in the box. So we cannot say Rahu is good or bad, positive, negative. That's why some say that there is no dignity with Rahu, that we should not even approach Rahu with planetary dignity. And I understand that because it is beyond that understanding. But I do very much like your analogy of the black and the red. Red light means stop. But the issue with Mars is it means go. And if you can't see the light, which is black, which is shadow, you don't see the red light. So you run the red light. But now the light is green, which means it's a little bit safer for the passing now.
Yes. Yes.
But still, we will be tempted with our impulses. We will be tempted with our desires. But the green light knows that whether this is going to be helping us or not. So it's definitely a better position than it was, but it's still a very difficult transit because of the Saturn Ketu. Like you said, Jupiter's behind Saturn and Ketu waiting to join its Mula Trikona position. And the Sun is behind in Taurus, whereas we're waiting to join its good position in Gemini. So one of the things that we learn about as we study astrology, as we love astrology, that no matter how difficult the transit is, and this is one of the reasons I became an astrologer, because people, when they are going through their greatest suffering, they say, this is what I expect my whole life. This is the suffering which I think I will happen my whole life. This is my life. This is the suffering, that is life, and that is my whole experience. But when you study the Jyotish, all suffering is temporary. All karma is temporary. All pain and challenge and obstacle is temporary. And so as, Sunilee and I discussed the challenge of this period, we also discussed the benefit of this period. And we also discussed the fact that Mars will enter Cancer on the 22nd of June. So that will be good. And Rahu will be back on its own at that point. And it will be a different difficult energy with Mars at that point, though. Maybe we can do another video and then, because Mars will be in its debilitation position. So so that is a difficult position for Mars. But Rahu, the confusion and illusion and trying to figure out what the answer is, there's so much uncertainty around that right now. And when Rahu is alone and Mars and Mercury have made their way through Gemini, there will be a lot more clarity where there was confusion. There will be a lot more closure where there was a lack of closure. There will be a lot more certainty where there was uncertainty. But while this transit is still going on, we have to embrace the uncertainty. I think as human beings, this is one of the most impossible things for us to do. To embrace the uncertainty, to be like, you know what? I don't know what tomorrow is. I don't know what next week is. I don't know what next month is. So I'm just going to live in today. I'm just going to live in the now. And I actually think Saturn and Ketu would offer a similar lesson. Because it wants us to let go of what doesn't serve us. And any speculation about the past or the future, it rarely serves us. So right.
Please continue.
Yeah, and so my final conclusion about all this is, yes, it's difficult, but it's getting better, and all of the suffering that you might be experiencing in your life related to the Saturn Ketu transit or related to the Rahu Mars transit. Remember that all things in Jyotish and karma are temporary. so is our suffering, so is our pain. And there will be another time of unity. There will be a time of peace. There will be a time of freedom. There will be a time where politicians will act maturely and responsibly. That's not right now, but that time will come. So never lose faith, my beloveds.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rahu, as we are discussing Rahu is a Kali Yuga planet. You know, because in Satyuga, all other planets who are deities, Rahu is a demon. So when the demon is existing, when the Kali Yuga is coming, Kali Yuga was a demon. There is a Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Kali Yuga, like that all yugas are there. So Kali Yuga was trying to enter its existence in Satyuga only, but it was not allowed by the Satyuga. But then step by step later on, now Kali Yuga is in the existence, and then Rahu and Ketu both come into action. So we all are living a Rahu Ketu life, okay, and we are just getting the nourishment by all the other planets to tackle the Kali Yuga. Otherwise, we all would have gone with only Rahu and Ketu planetary position in our chart, only nodes, because it is Kali Yuga. The total planetary position depends on the nodes.
Yeah.
And how many planets are coming between the nodes and how many are out. So whichever planets are coming between the nodes, that much karma you have to repay. And whichever is out, that is your blissful moments of life. And that totally depends. Even though if you have Jupiter out of the nodes, but still you are not getting the good fruits. That depends that you are not going to get the Mahadasha of Jupiter, because it is not destined. It is not written in this Janma karma. This birth karma, it is not written. That is where you are not getting the Mahadasha of Jupiter. But whenever Antardasha of Jupiter will come, that time definitely you will experience some fantastic good fruits. So this is the power of nodes. We are not even a pinch of whatever we are talking. There is so much about Rahu and Ketu. So Rahu is totally a karmic box, I call it as. Saturn is a karmic cycle of our life. But the box of karma is totally with the Rahu. That is what we are experiencing. So this was really a very good talk on Rahu, Ketu and Mars. Rahu, Mars and Mercury, and then Saturn and Ketu. And yes, next session we will definitely discuss about another planetary positions with Rahu. We will continue talking about it. And it's a never-ending story.
Yes, I think it will be good for us to do Sun, Rahu, and Jupiter, Ketu, because those will be the transits which will be coming next year. And well, Sun, Rahu much sooner, but yeah, Jupiter, Ketu will be big transit for the next year.
Yeah, that will be around November.
Yeah.
So we will discuss Sun, Rahu before that. So this was very nice. Thank you so very much, Kṣaṇāti. Namaste.
Namaste.
God bless all.